Okay, so today I'm really going to show you how to be the loser that women love, and what this comes down to is keeping her emotions in pocket. This is what I call it, like the term that I call it is keeping her emotions in pocket. You have to keep the woman in pocket. You have to keep her vibe in the sweet spot or in this pocket that I'm about to describe. You have to do this or you run the risk of turning her off. Now, you're going to hear a lot of guys say different things like, be a good guy, be a good leader, be strong, and, do this or do that. But it's like at the end of the day, if you actually pay attention to who she chases, it's majority of the time men who give no effort, men who don't want her, and she's going to chase men who she has to attempt to fix. Okay, this will all make sense if you just give me the next 5 to 15 minutes to talk through this video, and here's how I know I can help you with this. Let me give you an example. A dude in my community, he goes, school says I'm 43% through the language of women course. I got 4 girls' phone numbers tonight at work, and I've literally got 2 women waiting for me to get off so they can hang out, LOL. This shit works almost too good, exclamation mark. Can't believe I am capable of this. Okay, so when I see a guy literally say the words, can't believe I'm capable of this, like that literally tells me he's getting new results that he didn't even think was possible. So since I'm actually seeing stuff like that, I know I can help you too. Just join the community that I built after today's video is over. I'll help you learn, understand, and master the language of women as well. It's completely amazing, like the stuff that I'm seeing inside of that community. So join us inside of that after today's video is over. Let's dive in. Okay, so how to be the loser that a woman loves or that a woman craves. Okay, this is going to be the typical archetype. Like, just write this down in a sheet of paper so you know this and so you remember this forever. The archetype of a guy that she's going to chase is a guy who she sleeps with. Okay, so he lays down that good pipe real good. Okay, she sleeps with him, but he doesn't pursue a committed relationship. This is the whole premise of the whole thing. It's a guy who seems okay with just casual sex and not needing commitment. So he appears like he doesn't need commitment from her at all. Okay? It's like she sees him maybe once a week, maybe she sees him every other week, maybe sometimes he skips a week. But keep in mind, like, these rules aren't like hard and set. Maybe there's a time or two, like through the course of a few months, where she sees him 2 days in a row. Like, a lot of times when you hold yourself to these weird, rigid rules that never are based on the circumstance, like, oh, only see her once a week, and if you overstep that one rule, then the whole thing's going to dissolve. That's not true at all. Okay, there's going to be some times where she's hanging out with a loser and, he's getting stoned, smoking pot all the time, and 2 days float by on a weekend and he realizes it's about to be Monday morning and he's got work and he didn't even realize what happened. And that's the type of guy she just happened to kick it with for the whole weekend. And then he's gone and he says, okay, I'll catch you later. Nevertheless, I'm going to talk about how to do this, okay, because you have to understand this. When you actually look at like who hot women pursue men who don't care. Hot women pursue men who are almost like, he's so passive in not desiring commitment. Like, he doesn't care if they text message. He doesn't care if he gets a phone call. He doesn't care if he ever sees her again or not. He just really doesn't care. But when she is around him, it's like he's just so nice. He's so perfect. He's able to just kick back and be nonchalant and chill and go with the flow. And everything's just a cool vibe, okay? So what we're going to talk about today is keeping her in pocket. So what is pocket? Pocket is the sweet spot, right? Like, you're in the pocket. If you think about like hockey, right? Or if you think about like sports, in the pocket, in the goalpost, whatever you want to call it, there's a certain range you have to keep her emotions. Now, if you go too far over to the left, you run into tapping into your feminine energy. And your feminine energy essentially means that you're trying to connect and you're outwardly focused. You are outwardly focused on her and her life, okay? If she texts you and says, oh my gosh, I just had the most amazing brunch at, whatever brunch spot, the guy who's too far in his feminine energy will give a response that shows he's invested in that one conversation. Okay, so what that means is he takes active interest in being outwardly focused in her life. He'll say, oh, no way, what restaurant was it? Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. Me and you will have to try that too. I have a friend who went to that restaurant once. How often do you go to brunch? Okay, he's too far in his feminine energy. That will turn her off. She will probably friend zone him. He over communicates. He runs his big mouth way too much. When you run your big mouth way too much, you're no longer in that pipe laying zone. You got to stay in that pipe laying zone. Okay? He gives her that good pipe. Pipes are down good, and then he bounces. He bounces meaning like he's still there. If she picks up the phone and calls him in a couple days or next week, he'll answer. He's there, but he's never actually actively pursuing a further relationship. That's the pipe laying zone. If you hear from me, you hear from me. If you don't, you don't. This is how you are, or how you become the loser that she wants to sleep with. Now, this is over here on the left side, or my left side of the range or the spectrum. On the left side, you run into your feminine energy too much. Now, also the opposite is true. If you fall too far into your masculine energy over on this side, here's what happens. You also run your mouth too much and the vibe is too serious. You run your mouth too much and the vibe is too serious, and what you're going to run into over here is you start actually talking facts. You start speaking logical, rational truths about the world. You start giving inside information into your own life. And even if you're inwardly focused, meaning you're focused on yourself, if you're too far into your masculine energy, it's coming across so serious, and every sentence that you start saying, you're revealing more details about yourself, and she gets turned off because there's no room for mystery. Now, another thing you're going to notice is a guy who's too far in his masculine energy, there's not a lot of vocal tone fluctuation, okay? So she never ends up giggling or laughing. You have to be right in the pocket, right in the sweet spot. The sweet spot is in the middle. Let me give you an example. If you're too far in your masculine energy, if you say, whoa, no way, that's wild, it's so direct, it's so punctual, it's so serious, okay? It doesn't do anything to like her feminine spirit. When you're in the pocket and you kick back and you say, whoa, no way, oh, that's wild, you'll notice the vocal tone shift. You'll notice the voice change. You're going to notice that you'll actually watch her smile and most likely reciprocate interest back. So this is the sweet spot. The sweet spot, or the pocket, is right in the middle. You have to keep her emotions in the pocket. And I'm going to explain to you how to do this in just a very few simple steps. But let's recap first and foremost. What is the spectrum, or this, however you say that? What is the range? If you're too far over to the left, you're tapped into your feminine energy. You're playful and you're nice, but you're too outwardly focused. You're focused on her. You're focused on getting to know her. Anytime you're focused on getting to know her and actually discover real inside information about her life as if you care or give a shit, you're going to be friend zoned and she's going to think you're too nice. Anytime you're so rational, logical, serious, having actual intellectual, in-depth discussion with a woman, you are now too far in your masculine energy, and you have essentially lost that almost like stoner vibe that women respond to. Now, for those of you watching this channel and that hurts your ears a little too much to hear, I don't really care. I don't care. I don't care. This is the pocket and this is the sweet spot that women respond to. I'm going to tell you this. The hotter the woman gets, the more sensitive she is to only dealing with men who understand how to keep her emotions in that pocket. And that's why she chases bad boys and players and alphas all throughout her 20s and early 30s. That's the sweet spot and that's the pocket. So if you want to get hot women, listen up, because the rest of this video, I'm going to show you what to do and how to behave, especially to curate that right type of vibe and persona. I actually believe that this is something that any man can do with enough practice as well. Now keep in mind, even the vocal tone that I'm delivering all this information to you in is more so in my masculine energy. It's punctual, it's rational, and it's direct. When I'm with a woman, I do not carry myself the same way, so straightforward and just punctual. The vibe is much more, oh, I'm so hungry, let's go get food. It's more kicked back, it's more relaxed. The longer you date a woman for, obviously the harder that is to keep up, but specifically when she first gets to know you, there's a specific range that you have to keep her emotions in, and the only way you do this is if she feels comfortable and she starts to like you. She starts to like you when she feels no negative emotion. Okay? She starts to like you when she feels absolutely no negative emotion when she's around you, and the only negative emotion that she ever feels is self-created, specifically because she doesn't hear from you. This is what I have learned the more I've gotten to understand women. Women do not want to feel any negative emotion at all. Women optimize for their own happiness 24/7. That is essentially what she optimizes for at all times. Am I happy? Am I happy, and how does this make me feel? If you are not bringing happiness to her right there in the moment, she is going to start to lose interest and decrease interest and attraction for you.
This is why, as a man, anytime you're in a relationship and you try to have some type of logical discussion that essentially references a behavior change that you would like her to make, a lot of times she'll instantly take it as potential criticism. And then even if the things that you're saying make sense and it would help the smoothness of the relationship and it would cause good relationship cohesion, naturally she will take this as you getting reactive and you losing your center. And because of that, because you've now lost that nonchalant vibe, you'll notice that she just pulls away.
The only negative emotion she wants to feel, or she enjoys feeling, because this a lot of times causes her to engage in her emotions even deeper, and she chases and pursues that type of guy harder, is if the negative emotion is self-created because her brain is sitting there doing mental gymnastics over and over and over, wondering what he's doing and why he's not calling. That right there is going to be the only type of negative emotion that she responds well to. Mystery and potential disinterest from him. But the second that the vocal tone between them or the conversation is argumentative or reactive at all, you will watch the entire relationship start to fizzle out. So I'm going to give you some good guiding principles through the rest of this video to implement this with ease. Okay, so there is really 3 guiding principles or 3 guiding keys to keep her emotions in pocket. So guiding key number 1 or guiding principle number 1 would be this. You have to understand that the way you fundamentally understand and interpret masculine leadership with your logical, rational male brain is fundamentally different than what women respond to. Okay, women don't respond very well to any type of leadership verbally where she feels like she's being told what to do, or she feels like he is too controlling, or she feels like he just makes all the plans and she doesn't have freedom of expression or creativity to step into her feminine energy. So let's say she's with a husband who makes all of the decisions, and let's say he plans every single date. Even if he's planning all the best dates at the nicest 5-star restaurants and she's well taken care of, because the energy is so direct and it's so masculine, she will start to feel as if he's too controlling and the energy just isn't what she's looking for, and that she doesn't have any freedom of creativity, and she doesn't have any type of good vibe or good feeling, and he's too controlling, even though he makes a bunch of money and even though he plans everything and on paper he's a great husband. Okay, the first thing you have to understand about women is how they define masculine leadership is polar opposite to how your rational, logical male brain interprets the word leadership and masculinity. A woman, okay, listen closely. Another huge issue when you attempt to lead is that a woman mistakes it for low sexual market value because she looks at it as effort. So here's a guy planning everything, being very direct and punctual and good with his communication, and he really makes sure to lead properly, so that way she feels as if, so that way hopefully she feels like she can just follow his lead and the day goes smooth. She will not like that energy. This is what you have to understand. How a woman views masculine leadership is a man who doesn't try or a man who doesn't give effort. That's how a woman views leadership. There's a few reasons for this. The first thing you have to understand, though, is when you're attempting to verbally lead and you're attempting to verbally say things that positions you in that masculine role of leadership, since she looks at that man as giving energy and emphasis to the conversation, The problem with it is that she mistakes that for low sexual market value, and she assumes that you don't have any options due to the fact that you're giving this situation, this circumstance, effort. She sits there and goes, look at him jump through hoops and try to plan this and try to verbally say the right thing to lead this relationship. Look at him care, look at him give effort. She sits there and goes, he is nurturing the relationship even more than me. And she starts to get turned off. So this is what you're going to find. Any husband that I've ever met, any guy in a long-term relationship I've ever met who really attempts to be a good leader and a good man's man and says what he means and all this stuff, the wife typically doesn't want to sleep with him, or the relationship falls apart and she ends up sleeping with some dude who you would call a loser. So that's number one, okay? How a woman views leadership is essentially him not reacting to anything. And since he doesn't react to anything, since he doesn't actually verbally attempt to give any direction or lead anything, since that man who is almost in like a state of just sitting and not caring, you would even say from the naked eye looking in at that situation, he's in his passive energy. Since that's what he's okay doing and he's completely okay being centered and present in the moment, she's like drawn into that frame, or she's like drawn into that circumstance emotionally, wondering why he won't try. So this is what you have to understand first and foremost, is that women like to see a work in progress, and you have to start to reinvent or reshift how you view masculine leadership. That's the first thing that I want you to take away from this video. Now let's dive into the second thing. The second thing that you have to understand about a man who understands this, or a man who does the right things, or a man who is able to basically be the loser that she's drawn to, or keep her emotions in the sweet spot or the pocket. This man does not try to future pace future potential plans. Let me give you a couple examples of what future pacing looks like. The guy and the girl give each other a hug goodbye. And as the guy gives the hug, he says, all right, I'll see you later. I'll text you when I get home. Or be sure to text me when you get home. Do you see how now there's a future plan being set? Okay, he's taking himself out of the present moment to plan more things in the future. A woman also mistakes this for low sexual market value. So anytime a guy gets to know a woman, and let's say he's more of like a man's man who likes to plan things and all this, and let's say he starts to catch feelings for her, he starts planning stuff. So they're on a date, and they've known each other for 6 weeks, and he starts saying things like, oh yeah, you know, in the city or over in this part of the city, there's a steakhouse I love. I go to it all the time. I'd love to take you there. I can't wait to take you there. Oh, do you know what would be fun? Christmas is coming up. We should go do this. Christmas is coming up. We should go sledding. We should go do this. Oh, you know what would be great is if we did this at this time. And what she sees is she sees that you are now planning your future, and she's included. Anytime you future pace plans with a woman, you will notice a decrease in interest, because once again, women for whatever reason don't like effort. They will tell you they want effort. They despise effort. Women completely despise effort. The guy who doesn't care, the guy who does not put in effort, she will chase and chase and chase and chase and chase and pursue him and wonder why he doesn't put forth more effort, only to finally see and figure out that once he does put forth that effort, and he now has this mental visualization or this imagery that includes her in his life and includes him in her life as if they're a happy couple, watch her now start to destroy that whole relationship. Watch her now start to bite back and say, I hate this guy. That's what's actually going to happen. So you can't future pace anything. If you first met a woman and you're at the door and she gives you a hug goodbye, you say, all right, I'll catch you later. She doesn't know when she's going to get to see you. You don't need to say, I'll call you when I get home. You don't need to call her when you get home. You don't need to try to set plans for the next weekend. You just go home. Women absolutely hate like the end point, or what would be called like in a movie or a story when you don't know what's going to happen next, like the term cliffhanger. They hate that, because now her mind is sitting there spinning circles wondering if she will now get to see you again or not. So this is very important to understand. That's the second point that I have to make. And point number 3, I saved the best for last. If you look at any movie, okay, this is point number 3. If you look at any movie or any story, okay, or you look at fantasy movies, fantasy TV shows, fantasy stories that women are drawn to, every story, every movie has conflict, tension, and drama between the characters. Which brings me to point number 3 is this. Women do not want to see, or women do not like to see, a man that has every single box checked and is the completed package as is, because that's a finished product. What women like to do and what women want to do is women want a work in progress. Okay, women want a work in progress, and she would rather get a man a lot of times who appears broken or like he doesn't care or like he's this loser bad boy that might be a player, and she wants to attempt to see if she can take a year or two and slowly change him. She's wondering, why can't I get this guy to demonstrate care? Why can't I get this guy to demonstrate future plans? Why can't I get this guy to demonstrate masculinity? Why can't I get this guy to say, hey, I attend this restaurant every week and I'd love to bring you sometime. The second she gets that man at face value who is perfect like that, she just discards him because the movie's over, the story's over. It's a completed package. What she would rather have is a guy who's rough around the edges, appears to be broken in certain ways, and now she wants to dig deeper and discover why he's like that, and now she wants to run the relationship that way to try to change him. And she wants to try to slowly make him into the perfect husband for her. And a lot of times women will spend all of their 20s doing this. This is what you have to understand. They'll spend all of their 20s doing this. Literally all of their 20s. And a lot of times they will put off getting married, they'll put off having kids, only to be 30, 35, 40 years old and going, oh my gosh, what do I do? What did I do? Why did nobody tell me that I was naturally drawn to these things? And then a lot of times she's disappointed how her life went. So this is how you keep her emotions in the sweet spot or the pocket. The only reason why I'm telling you to potentially do these things is because if you don't, you'll just be left for a different guy. So it's like, if you don't do this stuff or implement this stuff, you're just going to go from date to date to date, or relationship to relationship to relationship, or interaction to interaction to interaction, and they all just fizzle out. So if you actually want to know how to like maintain interest, you're going to have to do this for like probably the entire duration of the relationship. And then a lot of times, like let's say she does finally marry that guy and now they have this on paper perfect marriage or whatever. Now the puzzle piece has been completed, or the puzzle's completed, and now she wants to destroy it, and now she wants to find a new puzzle that she has to put all the pieces back together. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And if you don't adapt to these things, if you don't listen to what I'm saying and internalize this, every relationship or every interaction you have, it'll just fizzle out, and you'll keep wondering why none of the women have interest in you. Hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. Join us inside the community I built so I can help you learn, understand, and master the language of women. I do believe I teach this better than anybody, so we'll see you in the next one.